pick up our story where we left off at the end of episode 2 with Hari and Tae Mu horizontal and locking lips. As Hari's brother Shin Ha-min comes dangerously close to catching her in a very compromising position, Hari's father Shin Jun-hae arrives home, too, and elevates her panic. Luckily, both her brother and father have the peripheral vision of naked mole rats and fail to see Hari and Tae Mu behind their family's vertically challenged garden fence. When the coast is clear, Hari sighs in relief, but in the process she accidentally headbutts Tae Mu in the forehead, knocking the poor workaholic Chable unconscious. Next we see him. He's complaining about Hari's hard-headedness as he hands her their official relationship contract. She balks at the penalty fee and objects to the unfair conditions, but he threatens to sue her if she doesn't comply. Unwilling to instigate a lawsuit that will out her as Tae Mu's employee, Hari signs the dotted line. Once the documents are signed, sealed, and delivered, Tae Mu forces her to sit through a PowerPoint presentation of his life's greatest hits. Cue a series of obvious green screen scenes that are as gloriously cheesy as his cliched perfection. But his dossier isn't the only things she has to memorize. He's also upgraded her pedigree in order to optimize her chances of earning Grandpa's approval. Hari is a bit of a method actor, becoming so absorbed in her new role as Shin Gim-hee that she reacts to the name when she hears it called out on television. Tae Mu, however, is unimpressed by her ability to memorize facts. He expects her to demonstrate a more advanced understanding of their backstory, being able to draw conclusions from the information and apply it to real-world situations. Case in point, she should know to reject a dinner invitation from Grandpa if it falls on their anniversary date. For all his talk, though, Tae Mu is equally unprepared to answer Hari's counter-question. What was I wearing when we first met? If they're going to make Grandpa believe their love story is real, Hari argues, then he should be able to remember the smallest of details pertaining to their fateful first encounter in the rain, which Hari recalls in dreamy black and white detail. It's very Casablanca-esque, capturing both the hokiness of old-timey movies and the absolute romanticism of Hari's imagination, but not gonna lie, the scene is visually breathtaking and near cinematic perfection as the yellow from Hari's rain jacket spreads to Tae Mu's umbrella and the scene transitions from grayscale to color. But, of course, a prehistoric bird like Tae Mu would find a fault. He says he hates the rain and suggests they change their fake anniversary date to a day when it wasn't raining. In order to make their story more believable, dealing with Tae Mu's personality must have understandably worn Hari out because she falls asleep during the car ride home. As she lists to the side, Tae Mu catches her head in his palm, but before the moment has a chance to turn romantic, Hari stirs slightly. Tae Mu panic hurls her noggin in the opposite direction like it's a softball on fire, and her cranium hits the window. At work, Hari's team finds themselves scrambling for a new chef to promote their latest product line, and Hari's team director Yo-ju looks meaningfully at Hari and suggests min-gue. Hari's eager to promote her friend and puts together a top-tier presentation, but her enthusiastic pimping of min-gue lands her in hot water. Yo-ju insists that Hari be the one to present her PowerPoint to Tae Mu. After borrowing Yo-ju's stylish cat-eye glasses and covering her lower face with a mask, she's unrecognizable, but disguise doesn't do well to dispel Tae Mu's current opinion that she's an absolute nutjob. Luckily, Tae Mu doesn't hold her unorthodox get-up against her, and the presentation goes well. Hari stops by min-gue's restaurant to tell him the good news. Unfortunately, she catches him being romantic with Go Yu-ra, his ex-girlfriend. Surprise? They're back together. Hari doesn't have time to wallow in her misery though, because the next day is her first arranged meeting with Grandpa. Tae Mu picks her up, and he has the decency to pretend he didn't overhear last night's cathartic crying through the phone she dropped down a storm drain. They arrive at the restaurant, where Grandpa mistakes the smartly dressed restaurant employee as Gim-hee. When he sees the real Gim-hee, his eyes sweep over her attire and blonde highlights in disapproval. Grandpa, you know you've got no business judging other people for their fashion choices? The introduction starts off rocky. Grandpa wants to know why Hari broke up with Tae Mu, but Hari slowly wins over Grandpa by explaining that she and Tae Mu have come to a mutual understanding about his work-life imbalance. She continues with the added embellishment that Tae Mu even came running to her in the rain, in order to win her back and repair their relationship. By the time they make a special road trip for Grandpa's favorite steamed buns, it's clear he's now firmly on Team Gimhee and secretly picking out names for his future grandkids. Over steamed buns, Hari spills the contents of her purse on the ground, and as Grandpa helps her collect her belongings, he spots the concert tickets, the ones min-gue gave Hari. Grandpa just knows Tae Mu was going to make Hari attend alone so he could go work, so Grandpa insists on dropping them off, like they're middle schoolers who are too young to drive themselves on their first date. Tae Mu reluctantly attends the concert, knowing Grandpa will probably camp out in parking lot all night, just to ensure Tae Mu doesn't try to escape. Even though Hari isn't a Mellowmans fan, she seems to be enjoying herself, until the duo pauses the concert to read some notes collected from audience members prior to the concert. And wouldn't you know it, the first note they read is from min-gue, who gushes about how great a friend Hari is and how he hopes she finds a special man to bring to the concert. While Hari silently cries, officially closing the chapter of her crush on min-gue, Tae Mu awkwardly sits there and listens as the people around them whisper that he's min-gue's replacement. After the concert, they wander aimlessly, and Hari suspects that Tae Mu must think she's an idiot for wasting 7 years on a crush. Surprisingly, Tae Mu comforts her, saying he understands. While he doesn't typically like to waste time in business, there are also instances when long-term investments can greatly pay off. But later, after Hari stops a foul baseball with her eye socket, she asks him why he's wasting his time on a pretend relationship with her. So wouldn't it be a better investment to try and date someone for real? And, maybe that relationship will pay off with marriage? While Tae Mu stews on her advice, Hari wakes up with a very unattractive black eye. She screams, and her family, all wielding their weapon of choice, come running to protect her. They, too, gaze in shock at her horrifyingly swollen eye socket, which will probably make her recognizable to Tae Mu if she encounters him at work. And wouldn't you know it, as soon as she arrives at the office, she finds herself trapped in an elevator with Tae Mu.